He went out of his way to find minority groups, women, and other people who have contributed to the history of the United States military. He wanted to remove them like they didn't exist. That includes the Tuskegee Airmen, the Navajo Code Talkers, the Japanese American Combat Regiment, the Women Air Force Service Pilots Auxiliary. All of these groups that not only fought for America, but gave their lives for America, he erased, callously erased, until the outrage and the outcry was so much that they had to try to go and restore those names. Well, let's go beyond just that. With this particular renaming of the USNS Harvey Milk, he is being callous and cruel on purpose. It's Pride Month here in America, and they waited until Pride Month began to remove, from what I understand, the only person who is of the LGBTQ community that has a U.S. Navy ship named after them. And so make no mistake, the power of having a USNS Harvey Milk, who, by the way, served in the Navy during the Korean War time period. His family was a Navy family, multiple generations that served in it. And he wound up being killed because he fought for gay rights as a politician in San Francisco. Unfortunately, he was assassinated in 1978. So we're talking about someone who put his life on the line, not only for his country, but for his people. Seems to me that would be the warrior ethos that we're looking for. The other names that they're trying to remove from other U.S. Navy ships, some have already been created. Others are on the block to be created. They want to remove them. When you're talking about people like Harriet Tubman, who led, obviously the Underground Railroad, but also led one of the first riverine raids in American history, going back to the Deep South and leading Union soldiers to free slaves in South Carolina. Why would you remove that? And I take that personal as someone who became a commanding officer of a riverine squadron while I was in the United States Navy. She literally is the example that I wanted to follow in my time in command. Okay. So we're talking about someone who risked her life hundreds of times for other people. Okay. You have John Lewis, who the entire ship class within the United States Navy is named after. We're talking about as a young 20-something-year-old college student standing at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, about to get his brains beat in because he wanted equal rights for people of color, and then became a distinguished congressman. That is the warrior ethos. He was unarmed and he went up against dogs, guns, hoses, etc. You can go into Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another icon that is going to have a ship named after her. And she became such a great lawyer, such a great judge, that she became a Supreme Court justice. And she started her career during a time where women couldn't even have a credit card without a husband signing off on it. Trailblazing, fearless. The entire mentality of being a warrior is about doing and sacrificing for others, and having the mindset to do what needs to be done regardless of the threat that you may have to deal with. So I don't understand how this man can sit there and say, I want to create a warrior ethos by erasing the names of people who actually had a warrior ethos. When you stop and think about it, let's see what all these groups, these people have in common. Oh, they come from underrepresented, usually whitewashed groups in American history. I just make it make sense to me. The effort that Pete Hegseth has used since coming into the seat as Secretary of Defense has been to destroy and rip apart the very groups that help make up the military, while showing professional incompetence by having scandals like Signalgate, or going over to Asia and saying that China is an immediate threat without using the correct verbiage. I mean, the man is completely in over his depth. And so when he can't be professionally competent, what does he do? He goes and fights a culture war because he believes that's what people want. He believes that's what the president of the United States wants. But I'm about to show you how wrong he is. A recent poll was just released by our friends at Common Defense. If you don't know who Common Defense USA is, please Google them and take a look at what they do. They do great work. Well, they did a poll of veterans. Didn't matter if they were Republican, Democrats. They made a point to get a wide sample of veterans of various political allegiances and views. And here's what we have. First of all, 70% of all veterans are against having this ridiculous military parade that's going to take place on Donald Trump's birthday, because veterans understand that they are not supposed to be used for political purposes, propaganda purposes, anything like that. They're supposed to stay in a nonpartisan role so they can execute their job efficiently and effectively. 66% of all veterans are against the changes made to the Department of Veteran Affairs, the reduction of staff, the firing of people, the lack of access that's happening while the Trump administration is saying this is just clearing up bureaucracy and bloat and fat. Veterans know when someone's trying to BS them, and they have seen immediately the effects of these changes. That's why 2 out of 3 are against what the Trump administration is doing to the VA. Another interesting question and response. 68% of all veterans are against the deportation of other veterans. So for those who don't know, around the world, the United States has plenty of people who are not citizens that have served in the United States military. One of the reasons they do it is because it fast tracks them on a path to citizenship. They have sacrificed more than the average American without actually being an American. Well, as you can see, almost 3/4 of veterans are like, you should not deport those guys because they have earned the right to be here, regardless of status. I once again think that the Trump administration is not only completely wrong, but they don't understand what the American people want. They have an agenda. In other surprising results in this poll, 77% of all veterans support clean energy jobs. Let me say that one more time. 77% of all veterans believe that the United States should invest in clean energy. They understand what climate change is, and they understand for the long-term benefit of not just the United States, but the entire world, the investment in clean energy is a prerequisite. And this is, once again, directly opposed to what Trump has said and what he is enacting. But the question that I want to focus on, and the question that I want to bring back to the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, is this. 76% of veterans opposed erasing the achievements of minority groups and women from American history. They believe it should be protected at all costs. 76%. That includes the book bannings, the erasing of websites, anything that has to do with the contribution that someone made to the United States and its defense should be preserved. That's a very strong number. Again, this is a nonpartisan poll. There are Republicans, Democrats, independents that were all polled all over the country. And this is what they're saying. So Hegseth, by picking these battles, is completely out of step with the people he supposedly cares so much about. And while I'm on the subject, why in the world is this man the arbiter of a warrior culture? There has been nothing that he has done professionally and personally that says he has the right to do that. Yes, he has the position of Secretary of Defense, but him as an individual, the wife beating accusations, the adulterous activity, the drunken publicly, and behind the scenes accounts of his actions, the running into the ground of not just one, but 2 veteran nonprofit groups. And then, of course, the signal gate, the things that he does that shows he's not serious about leading the Department of Defense and helping to secure the United States and its allies. He's not serious. And anytime he comes under criticism for his professional performance, that's what he goes and tries to fall back on the culture wars thing. But here's the problem, Pete. People have figured it out. It's not working. Not only are you wrong now, you'll be wrong when history looks back at you. And I think deep down inside, you know it.
New Midas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.midastouch.com.